Because we all have that desire fundamentally inside of our hearts. Any person throughout the world, we can have that conversation. They cannot explain the reason why mankind is born in its DNA, in our DNA, with a fundamental desire and yearning for God, period. There's no explanation any atheist in the earth can ever give me that would ever explain that reality. Phineas, for example, immediately had this desire in his heart, right? That's Phineas in the background there. You can't, the picture's not so great, but when he was born, he could be screaming in the room, right? They're giving him shots, they're doing all this, medical stuff. But as soon as he would hear his mother's voice, she would hold him, it's done. Like he had this fundamental tie and draw towards his mother. It was just a natural type of deal. And inside of mankind, we have a fundamental hole that's missing in our heart that no one will ever be at. I mean, all over the world today, you see hollow little religions built up around the premise that there is some sort of action that can connect us with the Creator. But we all want a connection with the Creator. It's undeniable. Written into our DNAs to desire and pursue our Creator. As sure as a baby's desire to be close to his mother right from the womb, our hearts long for a connection to God. We can deny it, we can suppress it, but deep down, we all know that there's something fundamentally missing in here, period. And nothing that Apple is ever going to sell, nothing that will ever show up in my bank account, no earthly relationship or pleasure will ever be able to fulfill it. And so you watch people on our streets and all over the world chase their tail through life, one thing after another, trying to fill the hole, looking like fools walking in the dark. Forever, that hole will be there until it is filled perfectly with Jesus Christ, period. And the evidence of that isn't, well, my dad told me so, or I learned it in a Bible study. The evidence of it is, look at the people who walk in darkness, you know what I mean? And still to this day, chasing, their chapters of their life just keep rewriting and rewriting. The chapter starts with, hey, I met this guy, and he's like the best guy ever, and he's everything I need to fulfill my whatever. The end of that chapter ends with, he was a complete jerk, and I don't know. And then the very next chapter, yeah, but then I met this other guy, and he was and just, you watch the foolishness of how the world operates, and yet, you also find hundreds of millions of people throughout the whole of history who found one thing that all of history has provided, that, boom, the moment that it hit, it's over. The pursuit's over. I don't need, I used to have to drive a Cadillac, right? And then if any of you guys that knew me from back in the day, I used to have to, that was my thing, right? Because I needed significance, I needed acceptance, I needed all these things, right? The moment that Christ hit my heart, I had all those things in abundance, and I could drive a beat-up minivan and have the same acceptance and significance that I was hunting for in these petty little things that we're all chasing.